Old Frankie boy keeps dropping these clangers, man. I tell you, he keeps dropping these clangers. In this interview, Frankie boy says that Dillian Whyte is one of the most mismanaged fighters, and that Tyson Fury, unlike Dillian Whyte, will get a straight shot at Deontay Wilder. Now, what is the problem with him saying that Dillian Whyte is one of the most mismanaged fighters? Well, Dillian Whyte is one of the very few contenders in the entire sport of boxing who has managed to become a pay-per-view headliner and a multi-millionaire without ever having fought for a world title. There are very few contenders in boxing who are in that position, but Dillian Whyte is one of them. So that's the first problem, because if you look at all of Frank Warren's stable, not one of Frank Warren's fighters who are, contenders rather than champions who have never fought for a world title, not one of them is a pay-per-view fighter. None of them. The only people that Frank Warren has who are pay-per-view fighters are people who either have titles or have fought for titles. He doesn't have any examples in his stable like a Dillian Whyte. And in fact, Dillian Whyte is a bigger draw in terms of box office numbers than anybody Frank Warren has in his stable up to this point, including Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, the Klitschko fight did good numbers, mainly because of Klitschko. It remains to be seen if Tyson Fury can do pay-per-view numbers like Dillian Whyte in the UK. That remains to be seen. I suspect he probably can at this point, but it still hasn't been done yet. But if you look at the rest of Frank Warren's stable, there's nobody there that's done pay-per-view numbers like Dillian Whyte. I mean, what did Frampton versus Warrington do? And look at Billy Joe Saunders. If you want to talk about mismanagement, where's Billy Joe Saunders' super fight, Frank Warren? If you say that Dillian Whyte has been mismanaged, where's Billy Joe Saunders' super fight? Has Billy Joe Saunders been mismanaged? I mean, he's been getting title shots, and in another interview, Frank Warren says he doesn't understand how Dillian Whyte hasn't had a title shot. Dillian Whyte was offered a title shot. What are you talking about? Dillian Whyte was offered a title shot against AJ a couple months back. Furthermore, the heavyweight division only has two champions, right? Two belt holders, AJ and Deontay Wilder. In most other divisions, there's 3, sometimes 4 different champions. And therefore, you've got more opportunity to get a title shot. But of course, Frank Warren likes to cherry pick these situations, right? And as far as specifically using the wordage mismanaged, well, Dillian Whyte is self-managed. If Frank Warren was hoping that Eddie Hearn was Dillian Whyte's manager, he's wrong. Dillian Whyte is on a fight-by-fight contract, or on a fight-by-fight agreement, should I say, with Eddie Hearn, and he has been for years. I was talking about Dillian Whyte being on a fight-by-fight with Eddie Hearn at least 2 years ago. I've seen some jokers online claim that Dillian Whyte being on a fight-by-fight with Matchroom is a recent thing because he's unhappy. No, he's been on a fight-by-fight for years. What are you talking about? I was talking years ago about Dillian Whyte being on a fight-by-fight. Him and Tony Bellew, the pair of them, having no long-term contract with Eddie Hearn. But yet he's remained with Hearn, and he's been built up, and he's built himself up, along with Hearn and Sky's assistants, to being a pay-per-view headliner and a multi-millionaire when he hasn't even fought for a world title. And you call that mismanaged? Are you nuts? This is a guy who was fighting on small horse shows, who bet on himself, invested in himself, and he's turned himself into the third, maybe even the second most well-known heavyweight in the United Kingdom. That's what Dillian Whyte has done. And this guy, with more front than Brighton, old Frankie boy, coming out saying that Dillian Whyte is one of the most mismanaged fighters. Absolute crap. Talking rubbish. Do me a favor, Frank, do me a favor. Stop talking so much nonsense. Dillian Whyte is self-managed for one, and as a self-managed fighter, he's done a fantastic job. Some people say that he should have taken the AJ fight while he had the opportunity. Well, if he loses to Oscar Rivas, we can sit back and retrospectively say, yeah, he should have taken the AJ fight while he had the chance. But at the end of the day, if you were managing Dillian Whyte, right? Dillian Whyte is self-managed, but let's say, hypothetically, you were his manager. you know that AJ's already knocked him out. You look at Deontay Wilder and you think, he can punch too. As hard as AJ, maybe a bit harder, but it's close between them. You know, this is what you might be thinking. But AJ is just so much technically better than Deontay Wilder. So I'd rather my guy fight Wilder because he's got a better chance of avoiding Wilder's big shots than he has AJ's big shots. And we know that AJ has the ability to get to Dillian because he's already done it. He's already stopped him. Even though Dillian wasn't the fighter he is now, there's also the psychological demons that Dillian would have to deal with going in there for a rematch with a guy who's already knocked him out. Whereas against Deontay Wilder, that's uncharted territory. Dillian might be a bit more confident and have more self-belief. Maybe that's the way Dillian's thinking. So people can say it's a mistake by Dillian not to fight AJ. Maybe it's not a mistake, you know, because if Dillian was to fight AJ again now and to lose, let's say he lost in 3-4 rounds. I'm not saying that it would be that quick. I'm just saying hypothetically, it's heavyweight boxing. You don't know. Both guys have improved since their first fight. But if it's all about risk, right? Risk reward. If Dillian Whyte was to go in there against AJ and lose earlier than he lost the last fight, what would happen to Dillian Whyte's market value? It would drop right down. He probably wouldn't be a pay-per-view fighter anymore if AJ just brushed him aside in, 3-4 rounds. So I'm sure Dillian knows that. And if you were his manager, you would know that. So maybe it's better to go a different route. Maybe it's better to go for Deontay Wilder. But the fact of the matter is, getting back to the point, is that Dillian Whyte has had the opportunity to fight for a world title. He had it earlier on this year. He chose not to take it. He said the deal wasn't right for him. All right, cool. That you say the deal wasn't right for you. But the opportunity was there for Frank Warren to come out and say he has no idea how Dillian Whyte hasn't had the chance to fight for a world title yet. It's disingenuous because he has had a chance to fight for a world title. And again, there's only 2 champions in the heavyweight division, 2 belt holders. So Deontay Wilder has said that he's freezing Anthony Joshua out. Well, that's not Eddie Hearn's fault. Freezing Dillian Whyte out. That's not Eddie Hearn's fault. How can Frank Warren make out as though that's Eddie Hearn's fault? That Deontay Wilder has decided to freeze Dillian Whyte out. That he sent him a message telling him this is what I'm going to do. And the WBC appear to be assisting Deontay Wilder in freezing Dillian Whyte out, putting all the roadblocks in the world in Dillian Whyte's way to prevent him going that WBC route. So that's one reason why he can't fight for the WBC. But as far as the other champion, he's had the opportunity to do that. So Frankie Blue Eyes here being disingenuous. That's what he's doing. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And I have to conclude by saying this. Dillian Whyte is actually one of the best managed fighters in boxing. If you can become a multi-millionaire and a pay-per-view headliner without even ever having fought for a world title, then you've been very well managed. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.